What's going on, guys? This is Miasin and welcome to my updated Floowandereeze combo video and deck profile. Just before we start, I just want to reiterate the fact that this deck is not a combo deck whatsoever. It's a mid-range deck, and that's the reason why I'm showing both two combos today, which are just like correct ways to like play out a hand, and obviously the deck profile right after. So if you guys are interested in these kind of videos where I show both the combos and deck profile, definitely try to smash the living pancake out of this like button, and obviously subscribe to my channel. That would really help me out a lot. You have no idea. I really thank you in advance. If this video can get to 1,000 likes, I will be making a live stream on this deck. And now let's jump right into combo number 1 out of 2. So Robina, pretty good card, not gonna lie. It's one of the best one-card starters that any mid-range deck can actually play, to be honest. It gets you a lot going, and it also makes you snowball advantage. So the best card to search most of the time will always be the Eaglin. It is probably the best monster in the deck. I want to say Robina is overpowered because it's the starter, but Eaglin is the card that actually gets you to your threats. Because the main deck monsters, like the baby Floowandereeze, they don't really do much, but when you get to your big boys and when you start tribute summoning, this is where the deck becomes nasty. So you're going to get your Impin, Chainlink 1, Chainlink 2, Chainlink 3, recycle back all of your Floowandereeze from the banished, and then you're going to be setting one card. And that's already a lot of interruptions just with one card, because Impin is a walking kind of semi-skill drain, so opponents special summon monsters in attack position cannot even attempt to activate their effects. That's even worse than skill drain when you think about it. That's like comparable to Mystic Mine, because your opponent can try to do like crafty things where he negates and then, well, he uses the effect and then you chains like something like Forbidden Droplet to like send it to the graveyard and then, you know, banish stuff. So Link decks are really hindered by something like Impin. Forbidden Droplet was like a really garbage example, but you get what I'm saying. Anyways, normal summon Robina, whatever, normal summon anything, and I'm going to be responding, normal summoning my own Robina and then getting my plays. Obviously in the mirror match, the player going first is actually usually in a pretty good position, but it is a really grindy matchup, so you really have to know exactly what you're doing, otherwise you're going to be struggling quite hard. But yeah, I'm going to be getting my Ryza with the Eaglin, and then Ryza here is actually very nice. So you can bounce back one card on the field to the hand, and then put back one card on the field to the top of the deck, and one card from the graveyard into the top of the deck, if I recall correctly. And actually, that is a mandatory effect, and they all resolve. So if you're tributing a wind monster, I believe you can place an additional card on the field or something like that. And that's the reason why, in total, it's like 3 cards, which is actually quite a lot. So yeah, I'm going to be making my opponent lose the card in his field. My opponent is myself. And I'm going to be bouncing back my own Ryza, and you can also use the graveyard effect of Dreaming Town, which is like a Book of Eclipse, so another way to interrupt your opponent. So the Ryza basically loops itself back. You get it for next turn, and also you get to, you know, bounce back a card. You get to Book of Eclipse everything, and you still have your Impin, and you search DD Crew with the Robina. So that's what, like freaking 4 interruptions or something with just one single card, and you have so many cards in your hand. Your Dreaming Town is in the banish, so next turn you can go Robina for 2 can, recycle it back, and play from there, which is not too bad, NGL. So that's it for combo number 1. Very straightforward, obviously just Robina. Let's get right into combo number 2 now. Combo number 2 isn't really a combo, it's just like a good practice that you should be doing. So when you have Robina in the field spell, what I really recommend is obviously banishing the Eaglin, because Eaglin is just ridiculously good. And with the Robina, you should actually search a second Eaglin. It's really tempting to search the Windbear statue, but if you do that, then you're gonna start losing very, very hard to Infinite Impermanence. So if you actually search another Eaglin, what happens is that you can, whatever, on your opponent's turn, if your opponent is trying to normal summon, that's going to be triggering your field spell, and you're going to be able to normal summon your own Eaglin and actually play from there. So that's exactly what we're going to be doing right now. Search, summon the Eaglin, and then you get to search for your tribute summon monster. By the way, please disregard the fact that my opponent is playing Floowandereeze. I'm really just trying to showcase the example, because there are some plays that my opponent could have actually done, like trigger his own field spell and tribute summon, but we're not trying to think that deep. So yeah, just a small little good practice that you should be doing, searching a second copy of Eaglin just to play around hand traps if you can, because hand traps can definitely be very devastating if you don't hard draw the tribute summon monster. So that's it for this combo. Now let's get right into the deck profile. Alright, so the Floowandereeze deck profile is going to be very short and sweet, but again, friendly reminder to like and subscribe. It really motivates me so much to keep making videos like these. And now let's just let's proceed. So 1 Impin and 2 Ryza. The other way you can play this out is by playing a, Mist Valley Apex Avion instead of the second copy of Ryza. That's something that people have been doing. Pretty nice play. I'm not against it. But yeah, 3 tribute summon monsters is usually what you want to do. So you want to have more than one option, obviously, so at least 2. But if you play way too many, then you're going to start bricking. So yeah, people usually tend between 3 to 4 tribute summons, but I want to say 3 is probably the best. And with 2 Ryza, you can loop the Ryza in the graveyard, so you always have tribute summon monsters, and you never run out of gas. But even if your Floowandereeze Empen gets like sent to the graveyard, which is like almost worst case scenario, you can still Ostrich to banish it and then Tokan to recycle it back. So you always have ways to, you know, generate monsters on the field, and that's the most important thing when you're playing a deck like Floowandereeze. So yeah, for the hand traps, we're playing 3 Shifter with 3 Ash. Shifter is just overpowered. There is no argument not to play it. So if your deck can't play Shifter, please play Shifter. It's overpowered against mostly everyone. Even against Despia, it's not like super unfair sometimes because they can still make Mirror Jade, but the thing is, the Mirror Jade will not be able to send something because it sends for cost, and you can't send anything to the graveyard for cost under Shifter because cards get banished instead. So it makes it so your opponent can't actually make negates, and it becomes even easier for you to clear everything in your opponent's field. So that's the reason why Shifter is just unfair. And then of course we have Ash, which is just overall good. It's generic, and we're playing the one DD Crow that you can search with Robina. So this is important because going second, you can search the DD Crow with the Robina, and then when your opponent goes Brandon in red, you already had the DD Crow because it's searchable, and you can protect yourself from Guardian Chimera and make it so your opponent can't fuse to get back the Mirror Jade. And that is just overall a good application on its own, and it's just a one-of anyways. You're searching it most of the time, so that's the reason why as a one-of it makes sense, but as a 3-of, definitely not. I don't think this is the right format to main deck DD Crow, but as a one-of, when you can search it, is good. And the Wind Bear statue, same logic, it's a one-of, but you can search it with Robina as well. And most players completely scoop to this card because it's ridiculously unfair. Now for the other Floowandereeze monsters, I'm playing 3 Eaglin as well as 2 Ostrich and 1 Toucan. Some people are playing 2 Toucan with 1 Ostrich or even 2 Ostrich sometimes. Honestly, 2 Ostrich and 1 Toucan is just a little better, but if I can be completely honest, I couldn't really give you some really in-depth arguments. It's just that in my playtesting, Ostrich was always slightly better when I had nothing, whereas Toucan, sometimes I couldn't even attempt to use it because I would have nothing at all banished. And the thing is, even when you have Floowandereeze monsters banished, you don't necessarily have to use like Toucan's effect because they get themselves back from the banish to the hand anyways. So the Toucan effect sometimes is just redundant. You don't really need it that much. But it is good to recycle back your banished spell cards, like the Quick Play, your Trap card, or your Impen, etc., which is something that these cards can't do on their own, and that's the reason why Toucan still offers you an additional play. But Ostrich being able to, again, apply pressure by banishing Phoenix Enforcer, Celestial, etc. is definitely very welcome. And I want to say that's probably the most optimal ratio of Floowandereeze monsters, hand traps, etc. I don't really recommend Imperm. I think Dark Ruler is a little better because Dark Ruler is a high impact card that you can easily excavate with cards like Prosperity and Duality. So even though, you know, you're playing a 41 card deck and these are 3-ofs, you're going to be seeing Dark Ruler very often if you want to, but if you don't want to, then you're not going to brick on it too often. And yeah, sure, you can say that playing 4 cards that are only good going second in a going first deck might not be the best, but you only really need 1 card to pop off anyways. So it's not like Extenders would have been really good in this deck regardless. So that's the mentality behind something like Dark Ruler. And now the Terraforming, of course, for the 3 field spells, but also Mystic Mine. And that was the other card that I was referring to with the cards that are not really good going first, but pretty nice going second. Gold Sark, I don't think you really need to play it. So if you want to play 40, you can cut the Gold Sark. That works fine. And obviously the 6 spots are just a no-brainer here. The Quick Play spell is ridiculously overpowered. It allows you to dodge Veiler, freaking Imperm, etc., but not Ash because that doesn't negate the monster effect on the field. So you can't do like the quick play chain and then banish and then search. So Ash can still be a little annoying, but still very, very good card, and you can recycle it back, as I said. And gaining life points is very relevant when you're in game 3 in time. The continuous spell allows you to just inherently out some extremely annoying things like Mystic Mine if you're against the card. And we have, I don't even know why there was like 1 Imperm in this deck. So yeah, I don't know, that was probably a mistake. So you can just like keep the Gold Sark instead of the Imperm. Yeah, this shouldn't be here. Anyways, that's it for the main deck. Now for the idea section, no, sorry, extra deck. I'm not going to be covering it, so I'm just assuming that all of these cards will rarely come up, and most of them are kind of obvious. Like, you just want to play like some rank 1s with like Downerd and Zeus, and that's about it. The other cards are just fluff. They never come up. But you could be playing some cards for Invoked, Dogmatic and Maximus, and that's the reason why I have Elder Entity Entis. And in theory, you could also play Cyber Dragon Nova with Invoked Merkaba. that works that works very well as well. And now for the idea section, another Impen, Rise Up, Dark Simorgh, very good against back row decks. The Simorgh, Bird of Extermination, I love this card, really freaking cool. With the Simorgh Onslaught, which you can actually search off of the Extermination, and there's another card that you can search off of it, which is like a Giant Shrunade or something like that. Pretty nice if you're going second against back row decks, and this card is like an extra normal summon, allows you to chain block your effects, and make it so you can play around hand shops. And it's not a special summon, it's just an extra normal summon, so it doesn't conflict with the strategy whatsoever. Pot of Extravagance, I don't think this is really worth it if you're already playing Pot of Prosperity because they conflict. But if you want to play, I don't know, more consistency that can clog sometimes, Extravagance is not too bad because you really don't care about your extra deck at all. But Prosperity guarantees you Robina almost, whereas Extravagance, yeah, sure, you're getting 2 cards, but you can have 7 cards in your hand and do nothing, whereas you can have 3 cards in your hand and completely kill your opponent. And that's the theme of this deck. Quality over quantity. In Eldritch, the deck doesn't function with the same rules because all the cards do almost the same thing. Like a hand of 5 traps plays just as well as any other hand, I want to say, in Eldritch most of the time. So in Prosperity in Eldritch makes less sense than Extravagance. But in this deck, of course, things are different because you really want to see Robina or like Field Spell plus like Eaglin, for example. Anyways, Cosmic Cyclone and Twin Twister for like Zombie World going second against Despia. Call by the Grave, overall a good card. But I wouldn't main deck the card because I'm playing Shifter, so the hand shops are getting banished anyways. So it's kind of like counter-intuitive in a way. And then, of course, set rotation, so you can also out Mystic Mine and apply your own Mystic Mine, give like the field spell to your opponent, or the other way around, but then you have to make it so you bounce back the Mystic Mine or something like that. And Stormforth, quite live, pretty interesting Floodgate. Dimensional Fissure, Macrocosmos, Anti-Spell, so you can protect yourself from back removal and stuff like that. And that's about it. So, let me know, guys, your thoughts on this deck in the comment section below. As always, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys very soon. Peace.